You got enough battery power?
Yeah. All right.
Check it out.
Yeah, no, seriously. Always. I can't reproduce this feeling I get in front of everybody, no matter how much harder I try at home. All right.
You'll kill yourself if you keep trying.
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a man in the sky. Isn't that what you expect from a comic book guy? Maybe reading a comic, hot pocket in hand, just waiting for the day that a spaceship will land. Maybe swinging a sword made of PVC pipe. Doesn't that fit into the stereotype? But this isn't right. All of it's wrong, and I'd like to explain, and it shouldn't take long. So if I could just have 5 minutes of your time, oh, that's right, it's my turn. Your ears are now mine. Now, there are no laws that I'm trying to ordain. I just want you to hear what I'm trying to explain. That comics are good. Comics are fun. It's like a movie and book combined into one. Everyone should read them. They help grow your mind, and there's absolutely no end to the adventure you can find. Now, there's a general train of thought that comic readers endure that if you read comic books, it means you're immature. Now, regardless if you think that, it's affected the way that you look at comic books to this very day. The movie Thor made $65 million right off the bat. That tells me you like the stories, just not the format. Compared to movies, comic books are much easier to make, so they're more experimental with the stories they take. Hollywood wouldn't have made a movie with a little girl slicing up her enemies, getting shot in the chest, or shouting out obscenities. Yeah, thanks to the comic Kick-Ass, that movie's out today. And you can rent it at Blockbuster on DVD or Blu-ray. Now, just to be clear, they're not all about heroes in tights running around town and looking for fights. There are comedies like Massive Awesome or horrors like The Light. I didn't like that one much, but it gave me a fright. There's Buffy and Fables and Y the Last Man, the greatest story in the world I now hold in my hand. It's a story where all the men in the world instantly die and no one can figure out how it happened or why, save one man and his pet monkey and the special agent chick, who's more courageous than the man, plus she has a bigger nightstick. So they're looking for the scientist who was working on a way to perfect human cloning before the human race fades away. It's funny and it's adventurous and a little bit sad. Nothing's almost brought me to tears like this comic book had. Now, if I said that was a movie, you'd probably say yay. When I say it's a comic book, you'd just walk away. Tell me I'm wrong, that I'm on one of my rants. Tell me you would give this comic book a chance. Of course you wouldn't. It's been ingrained in your head that you're too mature for this, but you've been misled. Now, I even asked a 12-year-old to see what she'd say, what her generation thinks of comics today. She looked at me dumbly and said, "Are you dim? I'm much too mature to be seen reading them." This tells me again there's a mentality going around giving comic books a bad name and putting them down. Perhaps it's just reading that people now fear. They'd rather see something they could watch and can hear. If this is the case, maybe the problem's with illiteracy. And nothing, my friends, rhymes with illiteracy. In this area alone, there's 10,000 and change of people that don't have reading within their skill range. And if comic books weren't looked at in such a low light, they could give the battle with illiteracy a bit of a fight. Perhaps kids would read more, would better understand if they had a comic book rather than a remote in their hand. You read more than you realize on each and every page. And perhaps I wouldn't be such a slow reader if I had started at an earlier age. Now, don't get me wrong, I still understand how comic books are for every woman or man. My grandma took up knitting because it helped her relax, but when I tried it, I was so bored I'd rather walk on thumbtacks. I'm not saying you need to read a comic every day. I'm just saying next time you hear someone say, "Oh, you like scary things? Well, here's something I've read. It's a comic book series entitled Walking Dead." Instead of just scoffing and turning your head, why not, I don't know, try reading it instead. And can't you just see how the future would be if comics were as commonplace as movies or TV? Perhaps the stats for illiteracy would begin to wobble, because it'd be easier to have a kid read a comic than a novel, and maybe the stories would give people inspiration to become the next best storytellers of our great nation. And then maybe we'd never have another movie like The Fountain. Rather than watch this, I'd sooner be buried under a mountain. And it could help you all kill boredom, because you have the power to finish one of these stories in less than half an hour. Because who has the time to read a book or watch a movie? Unless you rented it at Blockbuster, then it's just groovy. Now, all it will take to make this come true is the bare minimum of effort. Not from me, but from you. Next time you see a movie based on a comic that's soon to come out, why not go to Barnes & Noble and see what it's about? You don't even have to buy it. You can read it right there. And you'll be amongst friends, so no one will stare. But mostly you just need to start putting lids on these thoughts that comics are only for kids. Because comics are good. Comics are fun. It's like a movie and book combined into one. And now I've said all I needed to say. I'm off to change the world. Up, and away!